Am I audible? Can anyone hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay. So we'll start the class now. Are you able to see the screen? Anybody can tell me?
Yes, sir, we can.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So today we are going to start this Mealy and Mealy machine. Okay. So what is Mealy machine? Mealy machine again, like DFA and NDFA we did. So in DFA and NDFA, how many tuples we had? We had 5 tuples. In Mealy and Mealy machine, we will have 6 tuples. So definition is here. A Mealy machine is a finite state machine whose output depends upon the present state as well as the present input. I guess we did this in the class. So Mealy machine output depends upon the state as well as the input whatever we are giving. So for each input there will be output as well, and those 6 tuple will be capital Q, sigma, O, delta, X, and Q0. Definitions are here. Q is finite set of states, sigma is the finite set of symbols called input alphabet, and here O is a finite set of symbols which is output alphabet, which was not available in DFA and NDFA. Then you can say delta is the transition table, transition function, which is Q into sigma X into Q, and X is the output transition function, where so X is Q into sigma, Q cross sigma, X into O, and Q0 is again the initial state. Now, what is the example of Mealy machine? So example of Mealy machine in the class, what we did the transition table, which is visible on your screen now. So here in this table, you can see four states are there. With each state, there is an input, and for each state, wherever you are reaching, there is respective output as well. Like Q1, input A, you are reaching to state Q1, and output is 1. Same thing Q2, with input A, you are reaching to Q4, output is 1. Q3, you are reaching with input A, you are reaching to Q2, output is 1. And Q4, with input A, you are reaching to Q3 with output 0. Now, if you have to make the equivalent transition diagram, just see this diagram. This is not the equivalent of that thing, but how do we represent the Mealy machine? This type of diagram once we did in class as well. You see Q0 with 0 input, we are reaching to Q1. And what is output here? 0. With Q1, with 0 input, we are reaching to Q1 itself, and output is 0. So you can see this diagram, and we have one, you have done already this transition table. Can you make the equivalent transition table of this transition diagram? I'm giving you 1.5 minutes or maximum 2 minutes. Just let me know once it is completed.
Okay, sir.
And you have to make like this. So for this transition diagram, make the equivalent transition table. Anyone could make the table now? Hello? Aisha, are you able to make it?
Yes, sir, I'm making it.
Yes. Done? Any confusion, anybody in this?
No, sir.
Done? Now, just go on this next slide. This is the transition table of a Mealy machine. Can you make the equivalent diagram of this transition table? You know how to make it. What will you do? You will make 5 states, Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. And with Q1, with A input, you will be going to Q1 in self loop. So you will write A/1 because output is 1 here. Similarly, for Q1 B input, you are reaching to Q2, and what is output? 0. So what will you make? Q2 self loop. Q1, sorry, Q1 on Q1 only with B input, you will make self loop. Is it self loop? No, you are reaching Q2. So Q1 B input, you will be reaching to Q2. So Q2/0, you will be writing on the transition arrow. So Q1 self loop with input A, output 1, and Q1 arrow, you will be reaching to Q2 with input B, output 0. So make this equivalent transition diagram for this table as well. It's going to take more than 30 seconds, maximum 1 minute.
Sir, how do we know which is the initial state and the final state?
Right now here you just consider Q1 is the initial state and Q4 is the final state.
Okay, sir.
Sir, I have a doubt.
Yes. Yeah,
For the present state Q2, right? It's for A part, it's going to Q4. It will be 0 by 1.
Yes.
And even in the B part, it's going 1 by 1. So it can go from the same, from Q2, it can go to 2 of Q4.
Yes, it can. There's no problem. It can go. So what will you write on the Q2? Q2 input A, you are reaching to Q4. So what will you write? Q2 arrow Q4. And on that arrow, input will be A, output will be 1. Okay?
Yes.
And one more you can write on that arrow only, you can write comma, input D / output 1. So in single arrow only you can use both things,
Yes,
A/1 and B/1. Completed?
yes, sir.
Yes. So now we will reach to Mealy Machine. Again in Mealy Machine, the definition is it is 6 tuple, and these 6 tuples we did in the class. If you're not done, then do it right now. And you know, with Mealy Machine, output value does not depend upon the input value. In Mealy Machine, output value depends only on the present state. So there will be only one single output, and which will not be in respective to inputs A and B are 0 and 1. It will be dependent upon the input state, means present state. And 6 tuples are Q, capital Q, Q0, sigma, O, delta, and lambda. Capital Q is the final state, Q0 is the initial state, sigma is the input alphabet, O is the again output alphabet, delta is the transition function which map Q into sigma, Q cross sigma into Q, and lambda is output function again. So these are the definitions which you can do. Now, example of Mealy machine. So we had done this type of table in the class, transition table, where you can see how many present states are here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 present states are there. Q1, Q20, Q21, Q30, Q31. And with input 0, you are reaching to the next state. With input 1, you are reaching to the next state. And just see the difference in Mealy and Mealy machine. In Mealy machine, what was happening? With input string 0, you are writing the separate output, and with input string 1, you are writing the separate output. So in Mealy machine, how many outputs were there? 2 outputs were there. But here, how many outputs are there? Only one, and which is dependent upon the present state, not on the next state. So this is the difference of Mealy and Mealy machine. Now, how do we make the transition diagram of Mealy machine? This we had not done. So just see it. I'm giving just one example. What we do in Mealy machine, what you are doing, you were writing the output. You are writing the output on the arrows where you are doing the transition. Just go on Q0 here. Are you able to see this diagram? Q0?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So in this, you just see Q0, what you are writing, Q0/0. It means for Q0, output is 0. You are writing Q1/0, means for Q1, output is 0. Q3/1 means for Q3, output is 1. Q2/0, Q2, output is 0. For Q4, output is 1. And on the arrows which are showing the transition from one state to other state, you just see it, we are writing only inputs. Means at Q0, whenever you are giving 0 input, it's reaching to Q1. Q1, 0 input, you are reaching to Q1 only. So it's like that. So there is a difference in Mealy and Mealy machine. What are the difference? How we are making the diagram of Mealy machine? We were writing input and output both on the arrows. And in the state, you are writing directly the states Q0, Q1, Q2, Q3, whatever. But here in Mealy machine, in the state only you are writing the respective output as well, like Q00, Q11, like this. So this is the diagram, transition diagram of Mealy machine. Can you make the equivalent transition table of this diagram? So you understand how will you make?
Yes,
Format will be this. Format will be this. You can just see this. Format will be this. Present state, next state, next state, next state 0 input, next state 1 input, and one single output. So single output is dependent upon the input. So just make the equivalent transition diagram of transition table of this transition.
Sir, in this Mealy machine, is it important that every state should have a zero input and one input, or is it okay if one of them can be null also?
It can be anything.
It can be null, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Done, sir.
Done. So we'll go to the next slide. Now we have one table this. Okay. And you have to make the equivalent transition diagram of this table. Will you be able to make?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
What will you do? You will have 5 states, Q1 slash 0, first state, Q2 0 slash 0, second
Right.
state, Q2 1 slash 1 will be third state, Q3 0 slash 0 will be fourth state, Q3 1 slash 1 will be fifth state. And then with Q1 state 0 input, you will go to Q1. With Q1 input 1 input, you will go to Q2 0. So complete this. Then
Yes, sir.
anyone is having any confusion in this?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, so we'll go to the next slide. Now, how will we convert from Mealy machine to Mealy machine? And how will we convert from Mealy machine to Mealy machine? So we'll be doing this now. So first thing, we will do Mealy machine to Mealy machine. So suppose that this is the question. First question is convert following Mealy machine to equivalent Mealy machine. And you have been given a diagram of equivalent Mealy machine. So what should be the first step? First step should be convert this into equivalent transition table. Okay. So will you be able to make the transition table of this?
Yes, sir.
Just make it so that we could go forward.
Yes, sir. Second.
Equivalent transition table for that diagram will be this. If anyone has make it, just compare your transition table. Are you getting this, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This is the
Yes, sir.
correct equivalent transition table. Now, how will we convert that into equivalent Mealy machine? So just see in this table. What we have to carefully check, how many types of output is there for each present state, means not present state, for each state. So for that, checking the output, will you check the present state? No. You will just go in the next state and check with input A and input B. How many states are there where output is same? Can anyone tell me how many states are there
So,
where input is same?
output is
What,
input using
what is the output for Q1 with input A?
One.
1.
1 and 0.
1.
1, 1. And just check with input B as well. Output is 1 or not for Q1?
No,
No,
it's
0.
2.
No, it's 0.
It's not
Yeah,
0, it's 1. It's not 0, it's 1. Just check. You don't have to compare with the present state. You have to just go in
Oh,
next
yeah,
state
yeah,
and
yeah.
check.
One.
Yeah, yeah, the output is 1. Yeah, yeah.
One.
So Q1 input A output is 1 and Q1 input B output is
1.
1. Now check for Q2.
Yeah, Q2 also. Input A output is 1, input B output is 1.
What point? Where are you checking?
No, no.
Oh, no, that's Q4. Yeah,
For
Q2
Q2
input A output is 1.
Hmm.
and B is 0.
Yeah,
Yes.
Why is
So
shown the output?
let's just check it for Q2. Input A Q2 output is 1. For input B Q2 output is 0.
0.
It's written there, no? Yes. So means for Q2 there are two outputs, isn't it?
Hmm.
Yes.
For Q1 there was only one output. What about Q3?
Is the same.
Q3 input A output is 0, input B output is 1.
1. So for Q3 as well there is two output, isn't
Two.
it? Yes. And for Q4?
It's the
Q4
same.
input A
One.
output is 1, input B output is 1. Common
One.
output.
Yes. So for Q4 there is single output. So in all four states Q1 to Q4 we have two states where input is 1, isn't it? Single. And two states are there where output is more than 1, means two outputs are there. Hmm?
Hmm.
Yes.
So wherever single output will be there, we will not change those states. Okay? We
Okay.
don't have to split those states. So Q1 we will not split, Q4 we will not split. Why Q1 and Q4 will not split? Because Q1 is having single output in both inputs, eh?
Hmm.
And Q4 also is having single input at both places, isn't it?
Hmm.
Sir, I didn't understand why Q1 has single output.
Just check how many outputs are there for Q1. I can guess this is Aisa. Who asked the question. Yeah. So Q1, just check Q1 output is 1 or not in input A.
Yes.
Yes.
And Q1 in input B output is 1 or not.
Yes.
It's 0.
Let's check Q1 1 in output B. In input B, Q1 1 is there or not? So wherever there will be one single output in all the places for a state, we will not split those states. This is the rule. Okay. So out of these 4 states, Aisha, out of these 4 states, how many states are there where there is a single output?
2.
Which 2?
Q and Q4.
Q1 and Q4. So we will not split Q1 and Q4. Okay. So this you just remember. And how many states are there where output is more than 1?
2.
2 states, Q2 and Q4.
Q3.
Q2 and Q2 and Q3, not Q4. Q2 and Q3. 2 outputs are there. So for Q2, which 2 outputs are there? For Q2, one output is 0 and one output is 1, isn't it? For Q2, 2 outputs are there or not? One output is 0 and one output is 1. Anybody is having any confusion in this?
No, sir.
No. So now, what will you do? For Q2, output 0 and for Q2, output 1. You will split this Q2 into 2 parts. First part you will make it Q2 0, means one state you will make it Q2 0 and one state you will make it Q2 1. So for Q2 0 state, output will be 0 and for Q2 1 state, output will be 1. Understood? Anybody?
No, sir.
No?
Can you repeat this again?
Last time.
What you do, just take pen and copy and write the respective outputs. For Q1, single output is there or not?
Yes.
Now write for Q2. For Q2, you make 2 arrow, one is 0 and one is 1. 2 outputs are there?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Don't consider right now any input. Just check output only. So 2 outputs are there for Q2. One is 0 and one is 1. Yes. So now for 0 output, you will write Q2 0. Okay, state. And for 1 output, you will write Q2 1. You have to map one by one. Just read this. How will you write? Are you able to see these 4 points?
Yes, sir.
Just see for state Q1, there is only one output 0 with both inputs A and B. So you will not split it. Now for state Q2, there is 2 different outputs, that is 1 and 0. Using both the inputs A and B. Using both the inputs A and B. So what will you do? You will split Q2 into 2 states. One state you will make it Q2 0, and for Q2 0, respective output will be 0. And one state you will make Q2 1, and for Q2 1, respective output will be 1. Any confusion in this? Anybody? No. Aisha? Still confused? Yeah.
So for Q2 0, the output is 0, right? So when I'm making the diagram, will I write?
Don't make the diagram. Written.
Zero?
Listen. Right now you don't make any diagram.
Okay.
Just firstly understand this. You split this like this.
Okay.
Okay. So everybody, and same thing you will do for Q3. Q3 also you had two output, 0 and 1. So you will write Q3 0 and Q3 1. Means you will have to split that Q3 as well into two parts, Q3 0 and Q3 1. Okay. And Q3 0 output will be 0, Q3 1 output will be 1.
1.
And for Q4 there is only one output, so you don't have to split that. Everybody understood how we are splitting and why we are splitting?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, is there any confusion? Anybody?
No.
Okay. So we will go to the next state and next slide. Then you will understand what we are doing. Now, you just make the transition table. Okay. So while making the transition table, how many present state you will be writing now? Just check this. How many present state you will be writing now?
5, 6.
Q1 will be same. You are not splitting that. Q2 you are splitting into two parts, Q2 0 and Q2 1. Q3 you are splitting into two parts, Q3 0 and Q3 1. And Q4 is the same. You are not splitting since there was only one output. Any confusion, anybody now?
No, sir.
Now don't go on to the next state, directly go to the output section in this table. Okay. So what was the Q1 output? Q1 output was single 1 or not?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Q1 was output 1 or not?
Yes.
Yes.
So that's why you are directly writing in output section Q1 1. Okay. Now what was the respective output of Q2 0?
0.
0. So see in output section you are writing 0 or not?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now go to Q2 1. What you are writing? Output Q2 1 respective output was 1. So that's why you are writing 1 in output section. Okay. Now come to Q3 0. Q3 0 output will be 0 and Q3 1 output will be 1. Okay. And Q4 you had output 1. Q4 we had output 1 or 0. I guess this is wrong. Just check. Q4 we had output 0 or 1.
So it was one only.
So 1 only, so Q4 was 1.
Sir,
It
1
was
itself.
1?
Yeah.
1,
Okay.
1.
Yes. So Q4 output is 1. Understood?
Yes, sir.
So
Sir,
now,
why?
uh-huh.
Sir,
Ask.
why Q21 is like null in A0 and A1?
That will come. That will come. Firstly, you understood present state and output. Any confusion in this?
None.
Done. This is done. Now come here and see. Q1. What was the output with state A input? Q1 only.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So you are writing 1. Okay. And Q2, Q1 1 input. You are going to Q2. You are writing Q2. Q2 0. Q2 0. What you are writing?
It was B, right?
Hmm?
Q20 goes to B, right?
Q2. What was the input state in the state with input A?
Q2.
Q4.
Both places it was Q4.
Yes.
Yeah.
Both places it was Q4.
Yes.
So even if you are not writing null here, both places you can write Q4, Q4. Okay.
Okay.
You should not be confused in this. Why we are writing Q4, Q4? Because you don't have to split Q4. Anyway, you will be reaching to Q4 from Q2.
Yeah. Okay.
So we can write null or we can write the same digit both the sides.
Yes, same you can write, no problem. Now come to Q30.
Sir, one question.
Q30. Yeah.
So in Q1 present state, when A is 1, it should be Q20, right? Over there and not Q2 only.
Yes, actually here, yes, you're right. State Q20, output is 0. So it should be Q20. You are correct.
Okay.
Here, at this place, Q1, here we should have Q20
0.
because respective output was 0.
0.
Same thing, you come to Q30 and Q31 now. Q30 input, where were you going? Q3 A input,
Q2.
actually, you know, where were we? We should be here, no? We should be here. Equivalent Mealy Machine, and then have we missed something here? Yes, Q30. Q30. What was the input with A?
Yeah.
What was the input with B?
Q2 1.
So, but where did I don't understand. Here we have A equal to 0 and A equal to 1. But previously in the Mealy machine we had A and B. So where is that B? What did we do to that B input?
So is it like B is equal to A is equal to 1?
Yes, we can consider that. So here A and B, like 0 and 1 we are considering. So you can write this in your diagram, A and B directly. You don't need to write when 0 and 1. Okay. So whenever you are making in the exam, you can make this 0 and 1. There's no problem. So Q30. Q3, what was the input with A? Output?
Q2 and 1.
1.
Q2 and 1. That's why you're writing Q2 1. Okay. So here, how we write the state? If respective output was 1, you will be writing Q2 1. If respective output will be 0, you will be writing Q2 0. So just check it here. Q3 with input B. What was the output? Q3 1. Q3 1.
Output is 1.
Yeah, and state was Q3, isn't it?
Yes.
So here you are writing Q3 1. Okay. And now you have to see here what you are doing. You were splitting Q3 into two parts, Q3 0 and Q3 1, isn't it? So for Q31 as well, output states will be same. Sorry, next state will be same, Q21 and Q31, but respective output will be changed that you had already written. That's why you are repeating here Q21, Q31 at both places. Q30 with A input you are reaching to Q21, and with B input you are reaching to Q31. With Q31, A input you are reaching to Q21, and B input you are reaching to Q31, and output was 1. Why we are writing? Because here difference is in output, not here in the next state. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Here again in Q4, here at the place of Q3, what can you write?
Q30.
Yes, so you can write Q30 and Q4 1. So this you can correct it. Q4 with A input you can write Q30, and with B input you can write Q4 and 1 you had already written. So now if you are making the equivalent transition diagram for this table, that will be this. Mohit, now your answer is here. You are asking
Understood. This was my doubt.
Q2.
Yeah,
Yeah, so your answer is here. Q20, you are writing /0.
/0, yeah.
Wherever you will be writing Q21, you will be writing /1.
/1. Okay.
Yeah. So, so everybody is able to understand this, how we are making from this diagram to this. I just did the practice for this. Now we will. I am giving one practice question, and answer is also given here. But what you have to do, you have to follow the process and make it stepwise. Okay. So you can do it at your home once class is finished, because we have 5-6 minutes more. So I will be going to move it to Mealy Machine as well. But these practice questions you have to do at home. And yeah. So now come to Mealy Machine to equivalent Mealy Machine. Mealy to Mealy, anybody is having any confusion now? The steps were simple. Mealy to Mealy. What you have to do, you have to make the equivalent transition diagram to transition table. From transition table, you have to just see how many outputs are there for each state. If there is a single output, you don't have to split the states. If there is more than one output, you will have to split the state in respective output things. Like if Q2 output was 0 and 1, so you are writing Q2 0 and Q2 1, like that you will be splitting. And then while making the equivalent Murray table, you are writing the present state and directly output you are writing. And for the next state, according to the output, you are writing the state. Like if Q2 was the output, next state, and for that output was 0, so you are writing Q2 0. So these were the simple steps for Mealy to Murray. Anybody is having any confusion on that?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
So now we will come to Murray machine to Mealy machine. Now this is the question. Just see, we are taking only two states, Q0 and Q1. With Q0 output is 0, Q1 output is 1. Okay. And Q0 input A, you are reaching
Q0.
to Q0 only. Q1 Q0 input B, you are reaching to Q1. And Q1 input A, you are reaching to Q0, and Q1 input B, you are reaching to Q1 only.
Q1.
So how will you convert that? So firstly, you will make the equivalent transition table. So equivalent transition table will be this. Firstly, you will make the equivalent transition table. Okay. Once you are making the equivalent transition table, and then what will you do and how will you convert? This will be your final answer. Anyway, so how many states were there?
2 states.
2 states, Q0 and Q1.
Yes.
Anybody change that? Something in the presentation?
Can't see the PPT.
Hmm?
Sir, we can't see the PPT.
That's what I'm wondering. Somebody did change it. Okay, I will upload it again. Yes, this was the question.
Hmm.
So, how many states were there?
2 states.
2 states, Q0 and Q1.
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 Yeah.
Q1.
So, you will be writing here Q0 and Q1 in the table. Okay. And now, with Q0, what was the respective output? 0. And with
0.
Q1, respective output was
1.
1. What will you do? You have two inputs, 0 and 1. Here we have written 0 and 1, but actually here A and B is there, no?
Hmm.
So consider here, input 0 is equivalent to A and input 1 is equivalent to B.
B.
Okay, this you consider. So you will make two input. Now there will not be a separate output column, separate output column, because here in Mealy Machine with input only we write the output. So with Q0 input 0, where were you going? With Q0 input 0, you were going. Sorry, with Q0 input A, where were you going?
Q0.
Q0.
Q0. That's why, see here, Q0 input A, you are writing Q0.
Hmm.
And Q0, Q1 input A, where were you going?
Q0.
Q0. So that's why here you are writing Q0, Q0. Now come to input B. Q0 input B, where are you going?
Q1.
Q0 input B, you are going to Q1.
Q1.
And Q1 input B, you are going to Q1.
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 So you wrote this. So these four
Yeah.
states you wrote.
Hmm.
Yes.
Now you will be writing the respective output. So output you will be not be writing with the respective present state. You will be writing with this next state. So just come into input 1. Q0, check in the diagram. What was the output? 0.
0.
And Q0 was 0. So that's why you're writing 0, 0. And Q1, just check it here in this diagram. Q1 output was 1 or not?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
So
sir.
that's why you're writing Q1, 1. So this is quite easy, isn't it?
Hmm.
Mealy Machine to Mealy Machine is easy. You can directly write this and then you can make this equivalent diagram. Okay. Any confusion now?
No, sir.
So
So,
one, yeah.
so like in Q0, in the output is 0 when like Q0 input B, we go to Q1.
Mhm.
So, but in this, in the Mealy machine, Q0 to Q1, when we are going, how is the output 1? Shouldn't it be 0?
No, see, your question is Q0 input B, you are going to Q1, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
So Q0 input B, you are going to Q1.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So you wrote Q1 here.
Hmm.
Now this output will be dependent upon the next state, this input only, this state only, not the
Oh.
present state.
Oh. Okay.
Understood?
Fine. 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 So the output is 1. Okay. Fine. Understood.
Output for Q1 output is 1. That's why you are writing here
Hmm.
1. Not here
Okay. Okay.
output you will not write with respect to Q0 output. Okay.
Okay, okay, okay. With
Because
respect to Q1, fine.
in the first row, just check in the first row of this table, what is happening? Q0 in the first column of the first row is the present state.
Hmm.
But here we don't write the output on the basis of present state, and here we write the output on the basis of input and this state, isn't it?
Okay,
Next
okay,
state.
okay. Yeah,
So
understood.
that's why you're writing it one. Anybody
Understood.
is still confused in this?
No, sir.
No? No? So now you will have one more practice question. So answer I have given. Answer I have given here. So you can, in this you have two practice questions which you have to make it firstly equivalent transition table and then convert that in stepwise, like I told you now. You write Q2 0, Q respective output is 0, Q2 1 respective output is 1, so that you should understand whenever you are studying by yourself. Okay. So just make these two. And did you solve the yesterday's questions? Rest two questions.
Yes, sir.
You can either share it here or you can send it by email to me. I will just cross check whether it's correct or not. Okay. It's
Okay,
better
sir.
you share it here. Hmm?
Hmm.
Okay. So thank you. And we
Thank you,
have
sir.
tomorrow class. I guess we have tomorrow class as well.
Sir,
Yes,
can
sir.
you send this PPT?
I'll send this PPT. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
I'll send this PPT. I'll send yesterday's PPT as well and today's PPT as well.
So you
Yes,
have
sir.
already sent yesterday's.
Okay. Okay. I think I did